Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to our random review. Today's random review is from 2004, and it's Swing Girls, directed by Shinobu Yaguchi, starring a whole load of familiar faces. This is a Japanese DVD. There is a Japanese Blu-ray available, but I'm not sure whether it's got English subtitles. This film was recommended by Hoos from A Touch of Film. I'll leave the link to his video where he picks out a few films that he's watched recently that he recommends. And as usual, he was fairly spot on with Swing Girls, or in the second half of the film it becomes Swing Girls and a Boy. Now this is a film that features a story that we've kind of all seen before, perhaps. A group of schoolgirls are in kind of makeup class during the summer, for obviously not sticking into their schoolwork for various reasons, and we have a kind of cross section of girls, and there is a band, a brass band who plays for the baseball games, and they kind of get treated specially because they encourage the baseball team to do better. And through circumstances, when they're at an away game, their lunches don't get delivered, so the girls from the kind of summer school take the lunches by train, and then they have a slight accident, so they end up having an accident with the lunches, but they get them to the game eventually, and the band have their lunch, but they all end up having food poisoning and can't perform, and there's going to be a band competition at some point soon, and also they really need a band replacement. So the girls get the choice of they can continue doing their makeup maths class, or they can do band, which is run by one of the senior students. And initially they kind of think, well, it gets us out of makeup maths class and it'll just be a laugh, and then we'll just quit music class. But something strange happens, and some of them actually get the bug to play music. Now, two of them are obviously the rockers, because obviously in Japan hard rock and metal are pretty big. So we've got a bass player and a guitar player who at first obviously don't fit in a brass band. They've recently split up their band with their two ex-boyfriends who we meet later. And the rest of the girls, we have, again, as I said, a kind of cross-section. We have the shy one, we have the one that's always interested in boys, we have the one that's slightly overweight. And they slowly kind of come together. They start from obviously not being able to do anything, but they get trained up, not quite in a Karate Kid montage, as far as breathing and blowing through the correct hole, etc. And they go from being completely clueless to being able to be slightly competent and playing out of tune, before they eventually actually can kind of play the same tune at the same time. And there's obviously little side stories that go on between the characters until eventually the band comes back from their food poisoning episode, and immediately take over, and the kind of the summer school girls are kind of thrown to the side, but kind of the main four characters kind of want to continue, so they try and get second-hand instruments. They try and get a job at a supermarket to pay for the second-hand instruments, and they pretty much form a core because they realise they actually like performing and like the music. And again, certain characters' stories are revealed. The feelings of their maths teacher are revealed, who don't seem to like them that much, but then we learn about what's going on in his life. And again, as I said, it's a film or a story that we've seen before. You know, if you want to be cynical, you could say it's like Brassed Off, but with Japanese schoolgirls. But it's way better than Brassed Off, because it's done so well, and it's just done differently. It will make you laugh, it will make you cry, it might make you throw up a little as well. There's a wonderful scene involving a sprinkler system in the supermarket. There's a wonderful scene in the woods involving mushrooms and a wild boar, which is almost worth the price of admission by itself. It's a film that will put a smile on your face. I mean, normally I'm fairly cynical myself when it comes to films, but it's very difficult not to like swing girls. And again, I don't generally mind when other people, can't stand films that I like. But to me, if you don't love swing girls, there's something far wrong with you. Not to be judgmental or anything, but Swing Girls is absolutely fantastic, and it is one of my favourite films that I've seen so far this year. It might actually be my favourite film that I've seen this year. It might be close with They Might Be Giants, the recent George C. Scott, Joanne Woodward Indicator release. It's just so good on so many levels. Again, familiar story, but it's just told really well. All the girls have their own personalities, and they all kind of stand out from each other. Again, there's a kind of bigger group that kind of loses interest and goes with the kind of cool boys, and as I say, there's kind of the 4 or 5 that are kind of the hardcore that are left, before at some point the rest of the girls come back to them. And there's a couple of nice things about it. It doesn't necessarily end the way you think it will. And again, just some of the way some things are shot is a little bit different from the usual kind of bunch of kids come together and we make good kind of story. It's a bit more complicated than that. This is my first Shinobu Yaguchi film, but unfortunately the rest of his films seem to be very expensive, especially on eBay. This DVD copy was fairly expensive as well, but so worth it. But hopefully Third Window, hopefully Hoos can put in a good word with Third Window and ask for a Blu-ray of Swing Girls, because it's absolutely fantastic. As I said before, if it doesn't put a smile on your face, there's something far wrong. Yaguchi does seem to have quite a few films like Wood Job and Water Boys and Dance With Me, which all kind of sound perhaps similar to this story, but they all sound also really quite interesting. So who knows, hopefully one day Third Window might release more of his films at a reasonable price. But this is absolutely wonderful. I'll just show you the inside art on this DVD. It's just so good. I mean, it's 105 minutes, and the one complaint I probably will have about the film is it's way too short. It should be like 3 hours long. You could easily and happily spend 3 hours with this group of girls, because they're absolutely fantastic. You have the kind of snobbishness between the main band, who kind of play classical brass band stuff, and obviously the delinquent girls, even though they're not really that delinquent, they're just kind of the summer school girls, if you like, who play kind of big band jazz. Again, I also love the fact, you know, they don't become geniuses or anything like that. They go from knowing not that much to being pretty good as a unit, to being competent as a unit. You know, they don't all become jazz legends or anything like that. So it's a bit more realistic, perhaps, and we do see the growing pains, but it's just so much fun and so many things that will put a smile on your face. So as I said, even though it's a story we've perhaps seen before, it hits certain beats that we've seen before, but it's just done so well with such great energy, great humour, and especially the two leading girls are absolutely wonderful. And as I said, it's full of familiar faces. If you've seen Takashi Miike films, for example, and other post-2000 Japanese films. So thanks very much for watching, and thanks again to Hus from A Touch of Film for another wonderful recommendation, even though it did cost me money, but generally watching Hus's channel usually does cost you money. So thanks for watching. Please let me know if you've seen Swing Girls and what you think of it, or if you've seen any other Yaguchi films, or if you've seen any Yaguchi films that are available somewhere a little bit less expensively. Please let me know. So thanks so much for watching. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, saying farewell.